Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is start off with our first drawing. I've opened a new file here and made sure that my drawing template is up here at the top, and I have my default layouts down here at the bottom. The thing that we're going to draw is something that you should be familiar with. It's this shape here. We have done this one before a couple of times manually. So we're going to start off by drawing the front view, which is this one down here in the bottom. And it's okay if you can't read it on the screen right now. I'll walk you through it. So we're going to start off by activating the line command. There are several ways we can do this. You can click the line button on the screen, or, and this is the way that I prefer to do things, I can start off by typing L on the keyboard. And you can notice that I just started typing. I didn't have to click on anything. L is the shortcut for line. If you're ever unsure of something's shortcut, you can just type its entire name. And it'll give you this helpful pop-up that will guide you. So I've started my first command, and I've had ortho turned on down here at the bottom. And I want to start at the origin, or 0, 0. So on my keyboard, I'm just going to type that, 0, the comma key, and 0. Then I press enter. And you can see now that the line is stuck at the origin of the page and connected to my cursor. The first line I want to draw is 3.5. So I'm going to type 3.5 and press enter. You can see that my line has moved over a certain distance and is now connected to a different part, but still connected to my cursor. The next line, I want to go vertical, so straight up, and this one is 0.5. Then I'm going to move back to the left again. This one is 1.5. Then we go vertically 1, 2 to the left. And now, since I haven't closed the line command and come back to it, I'm just going to click the close button. And that finishes my shape. Now, you can see that I have a hand on my cursor now. I'm pressing down on the middle mouse button, or the mouse wheel. And that turns it into a hand that lets me drag things around the screen. Rolling the mouse zooms in and out. Now the next thing I want to do is I need to put this line into place right here. In order to do that, I'm going to use the offset command. That is this button down here. It's in the lower left-hand corner, or lower right-hand corner, pardon me, of the Modify palette. Or you can just type O. Now you can see that it's asking a few questions. First off, it says specify the distance, or you can choose through, erase, or layer. We don't want to choose any of those, we just want to specify a distance, which in this case is 1.5. You can see my cursor has changed from a plus to a little box. I'm going to click on that last line that we drew, the one on the far left. And now you can see that I have another line connected by a dash that is stuck to my cursor. I want to move it so my cursor is on the right side, and I'm going to click once. Then I'm going to press the escape command to exit the offset. Once it says type a command, you are cleared out of any commands and you're ready to do the next steps. Now on most shapes, we would have to draw the next shape entirely. But luckily for us on this one, the top view is just a rotated copy of this one. So we're going to select it. Remember, if you start on the upper left-hand side and move to the lower right, as long as the entire shape is covered, it gets selected. Then I'm going to come up here and choose Copy. You can see now that it's asking for a base point, or or basically a handle to hold on to the shape when we move it as it gets copied. I'm choosing this one right here. When I move up, you can see I'm still stuck to my vertical or horizontal lines. Move up to the top and click. I don't care where it is yet, I just want it in a certain place. The next thing I want to do is rotate this object. So I'm going to select it again. This time I'm going to choose Rotate. It once again asks for a base point. I'm going to choose the same spot that I did last time and pull straight to the left and click. Now I have a shape that is oriented correctly, but it's not exactly in the right place because these need to line up. So I'm going to quickly make a line. I'm going to hover over the top left-hand corner of my first shape. When I hover, you can see a green box shows up that says Endpoint. Endpoint means that I am connected to the end of that line. So I'm going to move my cursor up, type 2, and press Enter. Because that's how far I want the top of this shape away from this one. Now that I have that line, I'm going to select this again. I'm going to choose Move this time. Once again, it asks for a base point. Choose that same spot again. Now, even though I'm locked to the horizontal and vertical planes, and I need to go kind of diagonally, I can come down and hover over the end point of that line I just drew, and as long as the square is there, when I click, it will move to that spot. Then all I need to do is delete that line. So there's 2 of our 3 shapes completely finished. The last step is to make the right side view. Starting in the lower left-hand corner, I'm going to move my mouse to the left, and this time I'm going to type 1.5. Because that's actually how far the distance is between here and here. Press Escape. So this is once again a line I'm going to end up deleting. And I'm going to choose the rectangle command this time. It's in the upper right-hand corner of the draw palette. Clicking on that endpoint, I'm going to move up and to the right, and I'm going to type 1.5, and then I need to hit the Tab key to select the next box. I'm going to type 1.5 again and press Enter. Once I've done that, I now have a rectangle, or a square actually. Now there is one problem though, because the last 2 things we need to do are to make the this line here and the hidden line. But as you can see, when I click on one of the lines, the whole thing gets selected, and we don't want to do that. So with that selected, I'm just going to type the word explode and then press Enter. Now when I selected, each one is individual, which is what we want. The last command we're going to use is offset once more. For this one, we're going to type 0.5. Choose the bottom line and go to the top, and then the line on the right and go to the left. That last line we just did, we're going to select. We'll come to Drawing, and we're going to turn it into a hidden line. And with that, this shape is completely finished. The final thing we need to do for this assignment to be finished is to come over to ANSI A. You can see that my shape's here, but it's small and in the corner. So what we're going to do is click once on the border, so the whole thing is selected, and then down here in the bottom button bar, where you see the word Paper, we're going to click on that once. Once it turns into the word Model, and you have all of your familiar buttons back, we can now double press our middle mouse button, and that makes it zoom and fill the entire paper space. Then I'm going to click Model one more time, and it reverts back to the word Paper, and you can see the border has turned thinner. And this is good. This means that I can't modify what's going on inside of this viewport. And a viewport is just a window onto our model space. But the last problem here is that this isn't the right size. I want this to be 1 inch on the paper to be 1 inch in the real world. So to change that, I'm going to click once on my border again. This time I'm going to right click on that line and come down to Quick Properties. It pulls this box open, and the one we want to choose is right here where it says Standard Scale and Custom. I'm going to click on that drop down and choose 1:1. Go ahead and close Quick Properties, and with that, this assignment is finished. You can see here it's filled in my username, it's filled in the date. It hasn't fixed the scale yet, but it will shortly. And it puts a name for the drawing. So when I save this, I want to make sure that we're not in template. Go to your H drive and your drafting folder. I'm going to save it as Lab 1. Mine is once again going to ask me to override it. Yours should not. And you can see now it's filled in the location, H drive, drafting, Lab 1. It's also filled in the save date. Everything's good to go now. To print it, so if you come up to the AutoCAD menu and print, the printer we want to choose is HS-5100-D121. I'm going to click that. I'm not going to change any other settings. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And that's it. You're finished with this assignment. All that remains is to upload it to the Google Classroom.